Hello,
It was
Doug.
an interesting
Hello,
time,
Mr.
that
Halford. How are you,
transition,
sir?
late 80s,
I'm doing
early 90s,
great,
that
thank
guys
you.
were
Thanks
going
for having me on your
we
show.
were right in
Appreciate
that
it.
weird little,
It's all my
you're right, it was
pleasure. I am
transitionary
a
period
huge
with-
fan, to
with
say the
grunge
least,
coming
and
alive
I've been waiting
and
for this day
in
for a
way
long
that
time to
kinda
speak with you.
glam
So,
metal dying a little
Beautiful,
bit.
yes.
beautiful.
I mean, it never died. I
big
mean,
day for you guys. Redeemer of Souls is
They just
available.
toured the
Tickets
country.
are on
In the world,
sale.
actually.
Do you get
I don't know
excited
everywhere,
about
but,
this, or is
which makes
technology
me
and the
happy 'cause I
internet
love
kind of
both those
taking a
bands,
little
but,
bit of the fun
you know,
out
I
of
think
it?
in the end,
It's a
music is
blast,
music, and
Doug. It really is.
whether the
It
band
really
wears
is the best
makeup
time
or
in
not even makeup, it
the
was
metal
more
life
of-
of Judas Priest.
I guess
Hello,
what was
Gainesville,
it?
High, Florida,
The
the metal god. Um,
I guess glam. I guess
it's
it
the
was
same
kind of hair and makeup,
passion
but
and energy and love for metal
you
that
say
we've
hair
had with us
bands,
since
but
day
think
one,
about it.
Doug.
Hair
And
bands
it's
go back
carried
to
us
Black
for
Sabbath
40 years, along
all
with
the way
the
to like
amazing fans that
Well, we didn't
Kid
you know we're
Rock.
married
we
to.
didn't call them
in-
hair
having long
bands.
hair. Yeah,
from
Yeah.
having long
extent,
hair
you
was
know,
a
the
rock and
fans
roll
have
thing and has
given us
always
this,
been. You know,
Yeah.
they
this
didn't call Rolling
amazing
Stones a hair
life
band, but
in heavy
the
metal
Beatles got
music. So
shit for
40
having
years
shaggy
later,
They were
hair.
a
man,
hair-
17th
Yeah, they were a hair
studio
band. They were
album,
the original hair
band.
band.
You want to go
Redeemer
into
of
that?
Souls,
No, that's the funny thing.
some of the
Call 'em hair
best
band. And I
classic
get
metal
caught doing
priests
it
we
too. I'm
feel
like,
we've ever put
that
together
wasn't the term till
for our
way
metalhead fans,
later.
and
Yeah. I've
raring to
always
go to
hated
back
that
it all
term,
up with some
honestly.
live shows as well
Because
later
I
on this
technically
year.
was we were
Can't
considered
wait.
a hair
Can't
band,
wait.
but
You know,
we weren't, and
is
we
it a
were,
fair
and you know what I mean?
assessment?
It just
You know,
became a
again,
weird thing.
I've been a
Anyway,
lifelong
yeah.
fan. It's
Hard
kind of
rock,
a
heavy metal, you know?
Redeemer of
There's
Souls
that
is
funk
fantastic, by
movement
the
you
way.
guys
There's
were
so
kinda
many
in,
Thank you.
good,
it
catchy
bled
songs
over
on
into
here.
the
I can't
thrash
believe
metal,
it.
you know,
It's
Exodus,
kind of a accumulation
suicidal
of maybe
tendencies.
Hellbent
But even in
all the way up to
glam side, you know,
Painkiller in that
Extreme
era. Is that
and
kind of a
Electric
fair
Boys
assessment?
and
I think that's
they
pretty
were kinda
cool.
doing a
Yeah,
funk thing,
yeah.
and then you
Yeah,
guys
You
came
know,
in, you had a cross
some of our friends that
We had a
have
few
been
songs
able to
that
listen
had
to the record
funk,
before it
yeah,
drops
I mean, it was
right now
was just a
have
really
made the
cool
same
hybrid
kind of
sound. So
understanding
anyway,
of it, and I think
back
that's
to
great.
the
You know,
original
I mean,
intent
when we
of
put this
you're
music
touring
together,
United States.
Richie
First
and Glenn
time
and
20
myself. It
doesn't
was
seem
really from the
possible.
heart.
No,
We didn't
is
go
it
retrospective. We didn't
27?
check
Is it
any of the
more than
records
that?
out
It's almost
before we
30. Let's see.
started
I
writing.
wanted to say the
Of course,
last tour was
we had that
probably-
amazing Epitaph
technically it was
tour that was the last
95,
big
I
outing
think.
from Priest. So we
Right,
took
we
all of that
actually
energy
played
and
some shows
power
in
and
the
love from the
States.
fans,
Yeah.
and
I think it was 95.
we put that into the
crazy.
spirit of this
Yeah.
album,
I mean,
if
you've
you
done
will.
some
So,
stuff in
yeah,
the
what
UK
you've
because
referenced is pretty
a lot of
cool.
people don't realize
There's a
you
little
guys
bit of
were
everything of Priest's life
huge
in Redeemer of Souls.
across
That's
the
for sure.
world. That
You know, and then when I heard
album was
songs like
big in a lot of
Crossfire,
places.
it just brought me back to
And
Hellbent for
it was
Leather
on
album
the
for some
UK
reason.
and different places before the
Just
States
the
even.
effects on your
Oh, yeah, we've
vocals,
been
I
touring
just
pretty much
it
Europe
gave me
every
goosebumps.
year for
It's
the
like,
last,
wow.
That's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
2012
But
was the
that's
first tour, so
great. It
about 10
is.
years.
Well, when
And,
you write a record that
and
is
we're
so
going again in
pure,
August, so
there
it's
are
been
some
very
things that are happening
consistent,
out of your
honestly.
control, really, as
And
when
it's
you're
cool because
creating. And
every
I think
time,
that
every
you
year we
know,
do play a
picking
new
up on some
country
of
we've
those
never played.
tunes and albums
Cool.
that you've mentioned,
It's something like
is just
Bulgaria
part of the
gets a
rich
bit, you know,
history
or
of Priest
Hungary,
of
or
back catalogue
Romania,
in
or
metal.
Slovenia. You know, there's always a
You're
new
probably
country,
tired
which
of
is really
talking
neat
about
in a way,
this,
you
but
know?
this is the first album
Well, you
without
know,
KK
it makes
Downing.
sense
He
when-
decided
when
to
you
step
think
away.
about it,
Richie
because,
Faulkner joins you guys, and
you
obviously
guys
nobody
were
likes to see
hard
that
to
happen.
put in
I
one
love KK.
category.
In a
obviously rock,
in a
metal,
strange way,
a
did
broad
this
category, but
recharge
in
the
the
band a
States,
little bit and give
we
you
wanna,
a little bit
give
more
something a label.
inspiration,
And you guys were a
creativity,
band.
just having some
And
new blood in the
rest of
band?
world, Europe,
Yeah,
they
we have
appreciate
to
that
acknowledge
more.
that, Doug.
I
It's
think
really
they
it's really
do.
important.
That
We were
it
at the
doesn't have to
moment
be
when
trendy, they
KK
just
retired
have to
that we
like you,
really were not
and-
sure what was
and
going to
they'll
happen
be
next.
loyal
You
to
know,
you for a
we had a
long
tour
time,
booked,
and
we had
won't
shows to play, we had fans
My
to
wife's
see,
from Germany,
and then suddenly we
for
were kind of up
example,
in the
and
air.
she
We didn't know what
loves
was
you
going
guys,
to
by
what was
the way.
going to happen.
She had
But
the album and
then
everything.
this guy,
as well.
Richie Faulkner, comes into the
but
band, and
people have a little different
it is
view of
it is
music,
fair
I
to
think,
say
in
that
other parts of the world than we
the
do
new
here in the
blood, the new
States.
thinking, the new attitude,
I mean, I think one
it's
thing we have here in the
infectious.
States
I think
is
that these
a
things
lot of
naturally
great
happen.
bands do come out. It's a
But
big country.
we can't
and there's a lot of rock and roll in the
understate
States,
the
and
incredibly
we're pretty good at it, I would
important
think.
value of
Yep.
Richie's
So you have
right
a
now in
lot.
Priest's
So you have a lot to choose
life,
from. You have a
well,
lot of tours.
what he brought to that epitaph too was sensation. You saw it night after night. And then, he's a metal guitar player, can't put his guitar down, he's just so hardcore. And all of that vitality went into the writing and recording of Redeemer of Souls. You can feel it, you can sense it when you hear it coming up the speakers.
Jaded, but also
it's fantastic. I honestly, if I didn't know any better, wouldn't know KK wasn't on the album. I mean, it's
very diverse.
they really complemented each other nicely. So,
well, thank you. That was important for us. We didn't want a copycat replacement because KK has his own man as much as as much as Richie's his own man, but it's seamless. Richie will be the first to say, Dog, that he was a hardcore fan. He'd stand in front of his mirror when he was a teenage metalhead jamming to Priest on an imaginary air guitar. So he came into the band with all the right credentials, and so that seamless transition is very apparent.
Oh, it's a fantastic story, and I wish all the best for him, too. That's just been fantastic. No, the question is, and maybe this is still a secret, too, but there's so many great tracks on this album, from beginning to end. Which ones are you playing live? Are you going to obviously put some in there? Can you let us know which ones, or is that a secret yet?
These festivals.
Well, we haven't really determined it. You know, when a band goes out, your set list is obviously vital in terms of the running order and the songs that you play. When we come down through Florida later on this year, well, obviously we've got to do Breaking the Law. We've got to do Living After Midnight. Those are the songs that our fans love to hear, and we love to play them all these years later. We still get a buzz, because each time you play them for that night, they're fresh that night that you perform them. Having said that, we're promoting and supporting our new record, Redeemer of Souls, and it's going to be difficult, Doug, because all of these songs were created in very much a live atmosphere when we put them down. So it's very easy to transition them from the record to the stage. I think it's fair to say that the title track will be played, Redeemer of Souls. We might break out Dragonaut, we might break out Crossfire. It's going to be a real fun time to go into rehearsal soon, Doug. We're going to get back into the UK and fire up the amps and we get everything roaring again and playing all these songs out. But you can be sure that when we come out, we'll give you a good dose of Priest through the past and the present.
I can't wait. My last question, and again, one you're probably tired of. This the last album? Are you looking forward to another one? Where are we standing right now with Priest?
Well, I got to say that right now we're tremendously focused on giving Redeemer of Souls
it is different. I've got a nephew who's, I think he's 22 right now. His favorite band is
by the initial release. And then, of course, the shows that we're planning to do this year and next year. But,
I'm like, how did that happen? Well,
I don't know, man. The energy is so solid. Why stop? We're creative. We wrote 20 tracks
for can get back out there, because there's still some
we ended up using 18
or there's something magical about
that's
this.
fantastic.
We were on track to do a double CD, and we were
classic, like you said.
That just shows you, I think, the vitality and the energy that's still strong in the band.
It was just something about
no, it ain't the end. That fat metal lady hasn't sung yet. We've got to type up somewhere in a polite place, and she can't get out. So we got a lot of stuff that we still want to do, Dog, and as long as you guys are looking out for Priest and the fans are there for Priest, there's no end in sight.
Excellent. They're going to cut me off here soon. Rob, it was such a pleasure. I can't say that enough, and we hope to get to see you guys when you come down to Florida. Thank you so much, Mr. Halford.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Gainesville. Thank you, WXOF, and we love you guys and see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye now.
Guns N' Roses coming out, Metallica coming of age, and you've got all the pop and new wave and hip-hop really coming of age.
And MTV, when they actually played music, that was really the catalyst for that.
That's right. That was absolutely some great MTV years. We had all the different, MTV Raps, the Headbangers Ball, all these different. You could really get exposed to a lot through MTV that you couldn't hear on the radio, because radio was top 40. So they didn't have sure, at late night you get the heavy metal show for an hour after 11, but it was pretty cool having 3 hours of heavy metal.
I mean, it's weird to think that, Ugly Kid Joe, other Cats and Cradle did well, of course, but you're almost deemed too heavy for radio, at least in a good part of the country back then. So I came from the Midwest, and it's like, if I wanted to hear anything remotely heavy, I had to go buy it, or like you said, maybe Metal Shop, one of those syndicated shows.
11 at night.
Yeah, exactly. Which is really weird to these kids now, because the stuff they listen to is so extreme, and it's
I know. They're like, wait, your parents didn't like this? This is tame.
I know. But you adapt to it over time. I mean, my tastes have gotten heavier than they used to be, to a certain extent, but anyway, it's crazy. Well, I'm just thrilled you guys are back out there, and with Fozzy, I'm a big, I should be over professional wrestling right now, but I still am a huge Chris Jericho fan.
Rad.
And going out with those guys, that's a cool combination, I think. I think that's a really cool combo. So how did that come about, by the way?
Well, we've actually played with Fozzy at least once, maybe a couple times, and it was definitely in the UK, and he is just a super cool guy, super nice.
Yeah.
And the word, I think he actually kind of likes Ugly Kid Joe. I mean,
he does. I guarantee he's a big 80s guy.
Yeah. So he was really excited to do the tour. He was kind of came with it more of like, this will be super fun. And we're like, yeah, would be great. I mean, we haven't toured the States, and we want to make sure we have a bill where, we can have help. Getting people to come to the shows, because we don't know what's going to happen, and we have no idea. So it's been so long. So I think it was kind of a fun thing, and we're kind of from the same area. We like the same stuff.
Yeah.
And again, we have met, and we got along great. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I think it'd be great.
Oh, I think you're going to have a blast. I think it's going to introduce you to some new audience too, because he's got the AEW, the new wrestling thing going real well. So you get some of those younger kids,
right?
That's always a good thing too, to be exposed, because I think they're going to be blown away. I always laugh at the people who, because still to this day, the Cats in the Cradle, I did a great version of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm thinking that's, a lot of people know that song, kind of like Extremes, More Than Words, except that's even, and then they go buy the album and go, whoa,
what the yeah, it's easily the mellowest song on that record.
Then they buy it and get, oh, okay, now I get it. So and I've seen I mean, your concerts are generally pretty heavy too. I mean, it's a different feel than the album for sure. So I think people are going to be, you guys were, in my opinion, being in radio this time, just kind of watching the evolution of music, an influence on the new metal scene, the Limp Bizkits that started in, ironically, about the time you guys were, calling it quits in 97.
Yeah.
That style, I mean, it was more rap based probably, but it still was in that vein. Started coming in, and I know you guys were named many times as an influence on that scene. So, it's cool. I think people are going to appreciate seeing you guys, going back to where it kind of started a little bit in the late 80s with that funk sound. I think people will.
Yeah, I mean the rap element. I would say that my second favorite genre is hip hop and rap. Yep. So, we tried to incorporate it. I don't know how successful we were, but it's something that I loved, that what hip hop was doing, at that time. It was in your face. It was very, lyrics were important, and they said a lot of anything from being political, which we're not so much, but more of the humor and some of the obnoxiousness that I really loved in hip hop. And we tried to bring that into our stuff a little bit. And of course, just being fans, we were all huge hip hop fans. And so, I mean, just when I remember getting Straight Outta Compton and like turning it on to my friends, and all my friends like, oh my God, this is insane. It was like, you have Ride the Lightning from Metallica, and then you have NWA Straight Outta Compton. And it's like, it blows people's minds in different ways, It was so, like, for that time, it was so cutting edge and exciting, especially when you're young. You're like, this is something that no one's ever heard before. It's kind of crazy, and some people are going to hate it, and the authorities and the parents are definitely going to hate it. Oh yeah, so I love it.
Yeah, I mean, Beastie Boys. The heavier stuff started colliding, and it really created a whole new genre that a lot of us didn't expect to see. It's that's the crazy part about it too. So now, you guys are pretty much intact with the lineup, other than drums, from where you were in 92, right?
We've been switching it so much. Like, this tour is going to be, I think, 3 original members, so it changes. Sometimes it's been, last tour was 2 original members. The tour before was 4 original members. So it bounces around. Yeah. I was joking to someone the other day. They asked me, hey, who played guitar on that thing you guys did for that radio? And I'm like, oh, that was Sonny, one of our 8 guitar players. Because in like 2013 we recorded this thing, and I was even wondering, like, who was in the band at that time?
Well,
so yeah,
there's literally bands out there. I think at the end, like Skinner, I don't think there's any left. I don't even it's gotten.
Well, you go to Wikipedia pages now and it says members, and then it says former members, and it's like this list. It just goes down. I'm like, okay, we're not that weird. When a band's been around for 30 plus years, it's pretty common that there's a list.
Oh yeah. No, you guys, you got nothing going. I mean, go to LA Guns once. they're it's like 2 pages. I'm like, who hasn't played in their band?
It's like,
it's crazy. It's a revolving door, but no, but if you got even 2 guys left, I think, it's pretty impressive in this day and age because it's tough. It's, album sales aren't there. Like they used to be. I'll just say it. I think Spotify is the. I hate it. As a radio guy, I obviously hate it. It's like, what do you mean they can make their own station?
Wait, it's a computer basically doing my job. Damn it!
Now they got AI DJs. I'm like, what's going on? So, so I come from a different era.
I think of the drummers that when the drum machine started coming out in the late 80s, they're like, what? No, wait, you can. Oh my God, they're making the machine. What's that word called where you put not the shuffle, but there's that you could put the thing on the little slick to make it seem more real. In other words, it's not perfect. I'm like, oh my God, they're making it seem more and more human. This is ridiculous.
I know. I know. And then industrial music came around, industrial metal, and it was all programmed, the whole computer. Yeah. I just saw
I just saw a meme of that where like 1992, you paid $5. No, was it Woodstock? No, it was Led Zeppelin. It was a picture of Led Zeppelin. $5 to see 4 legendary musicians play, and then now it's like $125 to see a laptop or something like that. It showed
I know. When you think about it, it's like, do if you've got kids, how do you even explain it? It's just it's just perspective, And speaking of new music too. My wife and I were listening to the new album too, Rad Wings of Destiny. Great title, by the way, Rad Wings of Destiny. A little shout out to Judas Priest, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And, great album.
Thank you.
There's a little of, sounds cliche, but there's a little of everything.
Totally. Yeah.
It started off with the AC/DC track and a little more of a ballad. And it had to be kind of refreshing now recording without, major label pressure. I would assume just looking over your shoulder, you just do what you want.
You know what? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, their money is nice.
Oh, of course. And that part. And
all that stuff. They have to worry about all that. But it's totally nice because I do remember, funny enough, especially when you actually when we did the EP, we didn't have much pressure because there wasn't any. It was not.
Yeah.
We weren't, everything about you was put on that EP and we didn't even release it as the first single.
No.
And so, and it was a really low budget. I think we did the thing for $6,000 or something. It was 6 days of recording. So, and it was, that part I didn't like because I was like, oh man, we needed a few more days, but whatever. That's kind of, I guess sometimes the lightning in the bottle is that sort of just, you got to get in and out and you're just whatever.
Yeah.
And so, we didn't have it then, but as soon as there was success, like for the next record, we started getting the calls and the people coming to the studio and you're like, oh, and everybody's kind of scrutinizing it. And some of the people are great, and some of them were people you'd never even met before. And then as time went on, and then anyway. So yes, it's nice not having that. Just basically being with you, the band, and the producer, and whoever's working the board or the engineer. It's kind of nice because everybody's there, not thinking business so much. It's more like just thinking about the music.
It's a real snapshot of the band. Creatively, at least, in my opinion, where you're doing what you want to do and what you like to do, and not worrying so much about all the outside pressures of it, I guess.
Right.
Just, and that's what I appreciate is hearing some of the stuff that you wouldn't expect all the time from bands, and that's it was a cool album. We really were digging that. We had that playing quite a bit, so that was great to hear. I'm glad. I know a lot of artists from the 80s and classic rock are just, they don't bother anymore. It's like, I'm not going to bother putting out new music. But, I think when you start getting in that mindset, it's like, what are you doing it for anymore? I mean, you got
Whit, our singer, is just, he's a person that to this day, he still has that 16-year-old kid that loves rock. It's really cool. Like he pretty much spearheaded this whole making this record. He pretty much talked us into it. We were a little bit like, why are we going to make another record? Like and he's like, I've got some ideas. I've got some songs. I think the band's tight right now. And he kind of, you start listening to him and he's like, you're like, yeah, you're right. We should do it. Yeah. So he has his very charming guy, and he just talked us into it. And we were all, next thing you know, we're all totally on board, excited to make this record. And I think that kind of going back to you say, like, Whit is totally that dude that just, he was telling me the other day, sometimes if he feels sad or whatever, he'll put on like Diary of a Madman and he's all, then I'm happy. It's like, so what he would have done at 15,
Yeah.
You're going through all your shit as a teenager, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna listen to some metal.
Yep.
And it's gonna make me happy. Listen to Priest.
Well, I say, and maybe it's every era to some extent, but if you grew up in the 80s, that was the mindset. You said, we're not gonna get old. I mean, I feel old some days, but musically, if I put on, your guys' old record or just anything from that area, you just kind of, the music had you just kind of transported to a different time, I guess. And,
totally. Yeah. Well, that's what music does. It's literally it's a time capsule of your life. And in particular, as teenagers, we start to get into rock. I mean, or hip hop or whatever it may be. Yeah. You pretty much get into new stuff. That's what it is. Like what's happening out there in the world. And so it transcends you back in time when you listen to old song. What I actually do love about Spotify is that me and my wife will sit there and we'll be like, what do you want to hear? And you're like, you know what? Somehow like this Bananarama, it's usually some random pop hit from when we were from 80s. What was that song that went? And we're like, I think, is that the Bangles? We start to talk about it and then we'll figure it out and we'll play it. And that's actually the coolest thing, because you can go back in time and remember a moment. And then you do remember, because my sister was really into like new wave and I didn't like it. Yep. So we had a little bit of that. But every now and then there'd be a song that I'd be like, God, I like this song. I hate to admit it, but I like this Cure song, or I like this Bananarama song, or whatever. And then years later, you're like, I want to hear that song again. Yep. It reminds me of my sister, growing up. She was a year ahead of me, and she was the one that was always kind of on the cutting edge. She turned me on to AC/DC and Rolling Stones and all that rad stuff. Yep. So I owe her a lot. But, she also got really into new wave, and I guess you could say a little bit of the goth scene that I wasn't that into, but I totally I respect it now. I mean, The Cure, wow.
Oh, yeah.
God, what another band that blew my mind was Depeche Mode. I needed them. And then I've listened to a few of their songs because my wife's also into Depeche Mode, and I'm like, wow, I missed out on some really cool stuff because I was so close-minded.
My guilty pleasure was Duran Duran.
Like, there's another one. I hated them, and then I'm like, wow, they actually had some good stuff.
They actually could play too. Mm-hmm. I'm like, what the? Yeah, but again, it was the early MTV days, and they were all pretty boys, and you kind of like, I don't like that. But then, it's funny how time can soften you, because
that too
with grunge too. I didn't like grunge when it came out, but now I can go back and Soundgarden was pretty darn good.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Alice in Chains is one of my favorite bands.
Yes, they're amazing.
They're a great metal band. I mean, grunge or whatever you want to call them, they're a freaking great heavy metal band.
Yeah, they were. Yep, they were phenomenal. So it's funny how that works. So, well, I'm really looking forward to. We're hoping to get down to the gig here in St. Louis.
Nice.
When you guys are down here in town. We're kind of right in the middle of Kansas City and St. Louis. So we're about an hour away or so. So we're hoping to get to that one. I think it's on a Monday night. I think that's what it was. So we're hoping to get to that one, and we're going to talk about it on the station a little bit. I know Monday. again, I'm showing my age, aren't I? Oh, that's sad. Monday night. I don't know if I can.
When we get ready for tour, I have to start changing my clock.
Do you know what I'm saying? Imagine.
Because I'm like, I've been getting up at like 6:30, going to bed at 10. We're gonna be playing at 10:30. Like I gotta start staying up later. Like, when did you ever say that? Like, I gotta stay up for later for work. Not because I'm working, but because I need to get my clock ready.
Yeah. My excuse is morning. I did morning radio for so long, and I'm used to it. That's my excuse, but it's really a little. Yeah, it's. I just can't stay up late anymore. But I think we'll make it.
We have the time zone on our side because we are on the West Coast time. So by the time we get to St. Louis, we'll be acclimated, but also it is actually what is it? It's earlier for me, right?
So like 8, it will be
like 11 there will be 8. Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're going the right direction.
Yeah, we're going the right direction. Yeah, exactly.
So, Klaus, it's been a pleasure, man. I've been a fan for a long time. I've played a lot of your stuff. I've had a couple specialty shows, and I mean, I probably played every song at some point.
Thank you.
Other than maybe Goddamn Devil, I think I probably avoided that one just because of the area I was in the Midwest. But
right,
which is actually probably one of my favorite songs since Rob Halford's on it.
But yeah, I'm gonna right. That's the moment where
I know.
I'll never forget that moment. Him starting to sing it, and I was like, this is, I mean, Judas Priest, that was, like I said, my sister, that was one of the first true heavy metal bands she turned me on to, was Judas Priest. And one of the first things she said was like, listen to this singer. This is the best heavy metal singer in the world. And then he's literally not just, in the room, but he's actually singing on a song that we wrote, like singing our lyrics that we wrote on a piece of paper. And anyway, that was a super incredible moment.
I can only imagine. It has just been mind blowing. Yeah,
and the nicest freaking dude ever. Like just.
Yeah, I've talked to him a few times. He is so humble. It's like he and Ronnie James Dio, like the most humble guys in the world. It's just
two of the greatest to ever
voices ever. Yeah,
ever. Yeah.
Yep, very true. Klaus, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can, say hello when we're down there.
Yeah, please do. Absolutely.
And, best of luck with this tour. I think it's going to be huge. I think it's going to be reignite the band and the fans and everything else. I think are going to just go nuts when they get to these shows. I don't think they know what they're in for yet. So,
we don't either, because like we haven't toured the States, but how different can it be? They're human beings that like rock and roll. That we've been doing that for 10 years and they'll know the language.
Yep, you got it.
They'll get some of our dumb inside jokes better probably than the people in Norway.
Oh, there you go. That's right. I'm Norwegian descent.
They speak English pretty good though.
Yeah.
Up there.
Well,
I should have said like the Belgians. I don't know.
Or the Germans. Oh wait,
they speak English.
Yeah. My wife's in the other room, so she probably heard me. Anyway, Klaus, thank you so much. Have a great day and appreciate it. We'll hope to see you in a few weeks.
All right.
Thanks, man. Bye now.
Thank you. Bye.